everybody. Welcome back to the Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast, brought to you by Right America Media. We have Mike in the studio today, and we have a guest that's going to be on the studio. We're going to have Rick Berman from RAM Foundation, a veterans foundation. He's the executive director and board member. He's the founder, owner, and former president of Berman and Company, a Washington, D.C.-based public affairs firm known for its aggressive and strategic approach to public relations and issue advocacy. He's also behind several industry-funded nonprofit organizations, including the Center for Consumer Freedom and Employment Policies Institute. We're going to have him on to talk about how we can, do better donating to veterans causes and veterans issues, because it is June, Veterans Month. All right, let's get into today's podcast. And while we have him tuning in, we also have Mike from Citizens Doge here in the podcast. Hello, Rick.
Hello, Julian.
Hi, how are you doing today, sir?
I am great, and I'm feeling even better now that I'm on your show.
Thank you for coming on. I served myself in the Marine Corps, and I believe Juan, our producer, served in the Air Force. We're happy to have you on and talk about how we could do better supporting our veterans.
Well, here's why I'm happy to be on, because when I heard about the title of your program, it's part of the title, I thought this is really where I want to be, because I'm constantly telling people that in the veteran space, everybody is relying on emotional appeals. And I'm trying to get people to understand intellectually what's going on in the veteran space, and to not be blinded by so many videos and so many direct mail pieces that are all about emotions, and they're not necessarily being honest or intellectually honest about what it is that they're promising to do. Too many of these veteran groups are over-promising and under-delivering. So,
I've dealt with that by personal experience. I was having issues within my own life. I'm disabled veteran, 90%, served in Iraq. And I came up on damn near losing my house at the end of the pandemic, and I reached out to a bunch of veterans organizations, and I got the runaround of, we don't do that, we can't help you, here, call this person, call that person. And I basically I talked to a whole bunch of people who even work within some of these organizations, who pretty much told me, I'm going to be honest, your case is just not marketable.
Yeah. Well, I've heard all the horror stories,
mm-hmm.
and it ranges all the way from outright scams
yep.
to what you experienced, which is poor management, and that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. And if they're going to give money to a veteran charity, and there's billions of dollars being given every year, and that's billions with a B.
Yep.
In fact, the 100 largest veteran charities, which are the ones that I track, the 100 largest veteran charities by themselves collect over $3 billion a year. So we're talking about real money, and I want people to make certain that if they're going to give money, that they give it to the organizations that are doing what they said they would do.
So you're talking about tangibles, transparency, and accountability. Those are conservative principles. I am absolutely, completely on board with that. And so what are some of the things that you're seeing within this sphere, whether it's waste, fraud, abuse, like how bad is it? Like, because I remember, I want to say late 2000s, 2010s, there was a story about Wounded Warriors. They had taken in a record amount of money, but as far as what the money went to, it was more spent on marketing for Wounded Warriors, and then occasionally they would give a house away, or occasionally they'd give a vehicle away, but the vast majority of the money went towards retreats for executives and stuff like that.
Yeah, the retreat for executives thing really gave them a black eye, and it should have, because they spent an enormous amount of money And donors would not have given them the money if they knew that's where it was going to be spent. The long story short is most of the real abuses are in overhead. Now, overhead concerns fundraising, it concerns salaries, it concerns fancy office buildings, etc. And and out of the 100 that I track, there are charities that spend less than 10% on overhead, and there are others that spend close to 90% on overhead. Now,
Wow.
when you're spending 9 cents out of every 10 cents, on overhead, you're not really doing very much. And people who are giving you the money expect something more than that. There are charities that have 5, 10, 15 years worth of their budget in the bank or in investments overseas. And so they're out appealing for money. And at the same time, they've got more money in the bank than they know what to do with, and they're not using the money for what it is that they told people they wanted them to contribute towards. These are some of the abuses, and those aren't the real scams. The real scams are when people have collected money and bought Ferraris with it, or bought themselves a new house. Now, these guys are not breaking the law. They are, in fact, benefiting from the fact that the law is very weak. The Federal Trade Commission, the IRS, they're terrible in terms of policing these guys. There was a story about one guy who started up 76 veteran charities. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. 76 charities. Some of them were veteran charities. And he used all these confusing names, which sounded like organizations that were already in place. They were veteran groups, they were cancer groups, etc. But he set up 76 of these organizations. They all had the same post office box. And then he applied for nonprofit status, and the IRS gave them nonprofit status for all 76. And he raised money off of it.
Damn. That is disgusting. That's how is that not fraud? And I
It's
like
fraud.
and I'm looking at this, and I'm a political strategist, so I look at this from the perspective of the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse in DC, and I've seen firsthand how politicians and political machinery on both sides of the aisle will set up a nonprofit to filter money through to give themselves a paycheck through a back door because people hear the name of a nonprofit or the mission statement of a nonprofit and they fall in love with it, the marketing ploy, and then on the back end, but there's no tangibles. And unfortunately, the media and social media in general doesn't do enough amplifying voices like yourself who are sounding the alarm saying, hey, a lot of these organizations do not do what you say they do and do not accomplish what they say they do. Veterans homelessness has increased, veteran suicide has increased, alcoholism and drug abuse amongst veterans have increased, the divorce rates have increased, and I see a lot of people who, when it comes to the election cycle, everyone sounds the horn and pretends to be about helping veterans, and then as soon as they get elected, I watch both sides of the aisle cast us to the side, and
Yeah.
I find it utterly disgusting and heartbreaking.
Julian, you're absolutely right on point, and your own personal experience suggests everything that you're talking about is for real. I mean, these are not theory. People are experiencing horrible situations. I get mail all the time. I get phone calls all the time, and people are at. In fact, I get calls from people once they go to our website. Our website is called charitiesforvets.org. Charitiesforvets.org.
Yeah.
And so people go there. You're able to see the good charities, at least in our opinion, which are the good ones, and we give people all the reasons why we think that they're good, and you can see the ones that we don't recommend. But I get veterans calling me up saying, how can I get some help? These people won't help me. Or I get donors calling me asking, how do I get my money back? Now that I've gone to your website, I see that I've been contributing to some organization for the last 2 years, and I've asked them to stop my monthly contributions, and I've asked to get my money back, and they all get stonewalled. It's really crazy, and the problem is there's no such thing as the charity police. There, as I said, the Federal Trade Commission has got bigger fish to fry. The IRS doesn't pay attention to this stuff. You have to really go out with an outrageous violation of norms for the government to get involved.
And that's such a shame. I mean, I used to annually donate to the Navy Marine Corps Relief Fund because when I was active duty, and it's something that the vast majority of people who haven't served don't understand, that pretty much, I think it last checked all the way up to E6, you're living below the poverty line in most cases, even when you calculate for benefits and stuff. And I had to go shortly after getting married and having my son and stuff. I had to go to the Navy Marine Corps Relief Fund to get help in a lot of cases, to be able to go home to take care of my mom for medical issues and stuff like that, where it was like there was nowhere else we could turn to, and every veterans fund out there had no interest in actually helping us. But the Navy Marine Corps Relief Fund actually had an office on base, and I saw their tangible help on a regular basis, helping out the guys I served with and even guys I didn't serve with, and veterans who got out or retirees and so on and so forth, that I was like, you know what? This is one of the few veterans organizations I saw that were actually doing a good job. And I went to go help them, and I donate to them annually. And then there's the Guardian, what is it? It's Guardian Outdoors. One of my NCOs when I served, he started this to start taking guys with PTSD or guys who had lost that brotherhood that we all had when we served, and take them out hunting, take them out and have that moment of camaraderie where we could all connect again and, not feel like we were alone in this fight. And that was like hey, we take in donations. They go directly towards these trips. I don't take any money out of it. They're just for the veterans. And that in my mind is how, a veterans organization or a nonprofit in general should be run, is that 90% of the funds should go towards exactly what you say it's supposed to be for.
You're absolutely right. And by the way, despite my negativity about some of these charities, understand that if you go to our website, we show all the ones that we think are highly recommended. We show the ones that are recommended. And about 40% of the ones, let's say 40% of 100, we say are not recommended. And they're not recommended for a variety of reasons. But the point is, there's lots of good ones on there.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I really do, because this is something that hits home for me. And I'm looking at your website right now. Please, everyone, go to Charity for Vets. Donate to the charities that do a good job. Help sound the alarm about the ones that don't. Research, and please do your research before investing in helping veterans, because we desperately need it. And, we need it regardless of when the election cycle is happening. And it can't just be when it's in the headlines. It has to be an all the time thing continuously, because, we sacrifice for the country.
Correct.
I want to thank you for for coming on the show again, everybody. This is Rick Berman, the founder and owner and former president of Berman and Company, and the executive director and board member of RAM Foundation, Charities for Vets online. Go ahead and Google it, support them, and please support their work and, help our veterans. It is Veterans Month.
Thank you so much for that opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Okay.
All right, everybody, we're going to be taking a quick break before we bring on Mike from Citizens Doge to talk about the Doge report and the updates going on with Elon Musk and Doge at the federal level. God bless everyone, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Acciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Acciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.
Would you rather spend time with family and friends in the pool or at the barbecue rather than landscaping your yard? Well, Augusta Lawn Care is here to help you with all of your landscaping needs. Proudly serving southern New Hampshire, we handle everything. Weekly mowing, spring and fall cleanups, bush trimming, mulch installs, lawn treatments, aeration, dethatching, and even snow plowing and salting when the dreaded winter hits. Call Augusta Lawn Care today and let your yard be the best looking yard on the block. Call 603-331-4768. Augusta Lawn Care, locally owned, professionally done. Call 603-331-4678 or visit us online at AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry. That's AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry.
This could be the moment we've been waiting for, the chance to feel alive.
Sometimes we forget we live in one of the most beautiful states in the country. This summer, vacation right here and discover your new.
This is where it all begins. This is where it all begins.
All right, welcome back to Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. We had a great first segment with executive director and board member of RAM Foundation, Rick Berman. Again, please help them. In studio right now, we have Mike from Citizens Doge is going to be going over the Doge report. And just before he goes over the Doge report, we need to talk about something, big elephant in the room. It was the end of Elon Musk's term in the Trump administration. He was supposed to be leaving this week. He did. He left right on time, but not on the best of terms. He thanked Donald Trump for the chance to be able to serve the country and do great things for us, detecting waste, fraud, and abuse within the federal government. And he, identified a whole bunch of cuts for the government to make. To solidify the Doge cuts, we need legislation for a lot of it. Some of it can be done through executive agencies, through Trump acting as the head of the executive branch, but a lot of it needs to be codified in law because a lot of this is infrastructurally built within law. Unfortunately, though, Elon Musk feels dejected because within this new spending bill, he didn't get the Doge cuts. As a matter of fact, his tweet that came out as of 1:34 p.m. today, I quote, "I'm sorry. I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." And that leads us into Mike in the Citizens Doge report. You guys are carrying on his legacy.
Yep, and thanks for having me again. It's been a very successful show the last couple of weeks we've done it. And to your point, when Elon mentioned the other day when he was kind of stepping down and going back to his former roles with X and SpaceX and all that stuff, a lot of people were obviously thanking him for what he started and what he's been doing. But then I noticed a lot of people posting online in different videos that they were kind of sad and wondering what's going to happen with this Doge effort going forward, right? And so, as a lot of some of the viewers know, and obviously my story of how we kind of got started. And even for me, looking back, we started this less than 2 months ago. So it's been kind of a whirlwind over the last 2 months, just gaining massive acceleration and steam. And so I put out a bunch of stuff. You can check our socials. When Elon stepped down, I'm like, well, we step up, right? And that was the point of Citizens Doge, is to get people involved anyways, right? As a grassroots Doge movement, getting people, local communities, state, looking, just everywhere for fraud, and it is everywhere, right? So the movement continues. We're going to be part of that. There's obviously other groups that we want to help and work with, and that's what we're doing. So if people feel isolated or lonely or like upset. Obviously the Doge cuts aren't being put in, and there's a lot of just frustration happening and pent up anger right now. And so people, please join us and go to citizensdoge.com, and always send us an email if you want at citizensdoge@gmail.com. And then we have a ton of social medias. You can follow us, but please get involved, volunteer, step up, and we can make a difference at the local level.
You need a Citizens Doge in your state. Reach out to Mike and Citizens Doge on X, Facebook, TikTok now. Reach out to them and please get in contact with them. Figure out how to set up a Citizens Doge in your state and start identifying waste, fraud, and abuse. Conservative principles of governance, right? Waste, transparency, accountability, efficiency, and efficacy in that order.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll go into our weekly Citizens Doge report. So this is a report we do every Tuesday, mostly on the show here. So we appreciate Julian hosting us. And basically it's a rundown of local action, things that we've done, and events that we're looking forward, and just some mentions of unique items that we have. So the recap for last week was a very successful week and very busy week for Citizens Doge. On Friday, May 30th, Citizens Doge proudly served as the principal sponsor of the Belknap County GOP Committee cruise aboard the Mount St. Washington. 12 of our members participated. We enjoyed a powerful night of networking, fellowship. Special thanks to Belknap County Chair Paul Lang for the warm introduction and shout-outs. We also wish our friend Chris Bright, who is the keynote speaker at the event, all his best wishes as he heads out for military deployment, and he'll be back soon, so we thank him for his service. That same day, we joined the Granite Solution podcast, hosted by Craig Bora and Carroll County GOP Chair Brett Williams. So we had a fantastic dialogue on liberty, grassroots action, and the power of local leadership. So that was like a pregame show that we jumped on before the cruise. They actually both attended the cruise with us, so that was great. And then upcoming events, Tuesday, June 3rd. So that's today, and I'm going to be running there right after the show. We have a casino night fundraiser at the Artisan Hotel in Tuscan Village. Begins at 6 p.m. Myself, as well as a few other Citizens Doge members, will be participating at the VIP check-in line, getting all the VIPs checked in, and we are also a sponsor on the event. And then we have another one of our members speaking at the Dublin GOP tonight. So if you're in that area, hop over to Dublin GOP. It's at the Public Library in Dublin. So then going to upcoming events. So we have Friday, June 6th is our action meeting. So that's our monthly Citizens Doge action meeting where we get groups together, speakers, recap of what's going on, look forward to things that we're working on. So it's a great event. We do have Turning Point USA in the house. So that's a major opportunity for us to expand Turning Point in the state, and they're going to speak on what they're doing in the state. They're really ramping up here, so we want to be able to hear from them and participate in what they're doing. And
rumors that even Charlie Kirk might be making it up here this election cycle.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk about that at our event and see. I don't know if it's going to be specifically New Hampshire. Maybe it might be East Coast. We'll see what they have to say, but I can definitely ask, or if they have something to share, they probably will at the event. I also have State Representative Vanessa Sheehan of Milford, so she'll be speaking as well as what's going on and what's going on at the local community and in the State House and everything with bills. So that'll be good information. We also have Ed LaPlante from the Constitutional Party in New Hampshire. So he'll be speaking upon what the Constitutional Party is doing and, things that and we'd like to have other groups out. We've had Walkaway, which is a group that's Democrats walking away from the Democratic Party. We've had a lot of grassroots movements. So we are not just all Trump fans. I mean, we love Trump and we're great, but I want to be a diverse group and bringing several different groups together and see how we can work together. So last event that we have coming up is we have Saturday, June 14th. It happens to be Trump's birthday, and it's a flag wave and barbecue at 96 Milk Street, Methuen, Mass. from 12 to 5 p.m. Merchandise and community outreach materials will be available at the Citizens Doge table. So we'll have a table there. Come stop by, sign up to volunteer, get some merch. And then to finish off the report, so we have a call to action. We need people to lead, volunteer, or partner with us. Julian mentioned, setting up your own Doge teams, setting up a team in your town. Just get involved any way you can. We'll take where people are basically, we're not, and I've done a lot of volunteer work in the Trump campaign and the other campaigns, and basically we're all hands on deck at this moment. So if someone can give an hour a week, they can give 20 hours a week, great. We just need everyone to do something and get involved. And that we have ways to get people connected in many different facets. So if you're not into door knocking, you're not into phone calling, but you're good on social media, you're good at writing newsletters, you're good at outreach, whatever you can do, we'll find you a home. So we appreciate it. So like I said, contact us at citizensdoge@gmail.com or visit our website, citizensdoge.com, and get involved. And so that wraps up the report. So I appreciate it. And we will be back next week with another Citizen Doge report.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in. Tell everybody over the Grand Solutions Casino night that I said hi, and I look forward to having quite a few of them on the podcast coming up, especially as we ramp up immigration and stuff like that. But, I think the thing that I need to say is Republicans, you're screwing up. Republicans in D.C., you are messing up right now. We had Elon Musk. This guy is pioneering in the energy sector. He's pioneering in space travel. He's pioneering in vehicles. He's pioneering in social media. He's become the richest and most influential man in the world, and yet this could have been an asset that we had on our side of the aisle for probably the next 20 years. But the bureaucrats and the career politicians in DC, the rhinos, however you want to say it, I really hate that term rhino because I find it to be a slur to pretty much mean, everybody that I currently disagree with, which I think is absolutely retarded. And most of the time I see it applied towards conservatives who just disagree with you on a single issue. But I'm talking about the neocons, the ones who are constantly growing government just moderately slower than the Democrats. Their version of a return to normalcy is can we just slow down the march towards this regressive dystopia that we're living in. You're messing up, America. You're messing up. GOP, get your head out of your ass. Pass the damn Doge cuts. Give us what we voted for. Yes, we voted for the Doge cuts. We voted for all of this. Donald Trump said he was bringing in Doge. They said that they were going to get waste and fraud and abuse out of the federal government. We want transparency. We want accountability. We want efficiency, and we want efficacy in our government. We want the government to be restricted to the protection and conservation of the Constitution, the Republic, and the inalienable rights of individuals to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That is what we voted for, and you're not delivering it. And I know what you're thinking you're going to do. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that you can pass the buck until we eventually lose the House during the midterms, or we decrease our majority during the midterms so that you can screw it, you can stick it to us, you can give it to us from behind without the courtesy of a reach around by just, let it all wait until after the midterms. And then you can use the fact that we lost the House as an excuse for why you don't have to deliver what Trump ran on and what the American people voted for. Trump is delivering. He's attempting to deliver, and you're the ones messing it up. And you know what? Every single one of you needs to be primaried. I'm going to say it. I've said it so many times before. Thomas Massey was right because he called you out. He told everyone that you weren't going to end up doing it. You were going to pass the buck to the Senate, and they weren't going to do it. And that's exactly what's happening. And we're watching it happen. And you're playing in our face and expecting us not to get pissed off about it. That's it. That's my rant. I'm pissed. We could accomplish so much if Republicans would just grow a backbone. Just grow a damn backbone at this point. It's getting to the point where, you have lifelong conservatives like me. I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. Can't name you one I would. And I'm looking at Republicans and I'm starting to feel exactly the same way. I see constantly everyone go out there, they say the right things, and then when it comes to actually delivering, stab us in the back. All right. In other news coming up, so we got JP Morgan and Chase CEO urges the U.S. to stockpile guns and ammo instead of Bitcoin. Yes. So I have my thoughts on this are really very simple. Okay, so you got when we're looking at the possibility of a war, if an EMP strikes and we end up having our electric system, our electric grid crashes, or a real emergency like this happens, you're not going to be able to access your Bitcoin wallet. Your Bitcoin means absolutely shit without the internet and without the ability to actually tap into it. You can't trade, you can't sell, you can't buy. It just becomes utterly fucking worthless numbers in a hard drive. So yes, guns and ammo. And I'm a big Second Amendment supporter, so obviously I completely rock with this. Now, I'm sure he probably looks at it from a different, he probably thinks we're heading into a dystopian America thanks to Donald Trump or some shit like that. I don't care. I don't care. That's not what I'm looking at here. All right? Now, Trump had a speech where he discussed in front of a bunch of steel workers that he wants to increase the steel tariffs from 25% to 50%. This is something that, he's trying to protect the American steel market and ramp up American steel production domestically by not going to our foreign adversaries. Yes, I'm talking about China. I'm talking about other places in the world that are trying to manipulate our markets via, unrestricted warfare and stuff. This is something that we should definitely be looking at. And this is what I've said numerous times, is that tariffs in and of themselves for, monetary fundraising purposes, I'm completely against. Obviously, Milton Friedman, Chicago School, Rothbardian, Austrian economics, not for it. Tariffs as a tactic to get people to build up, force the American economy to build up, or force domestic production, force people to manufacture here in the United States, I'm completely on board with, because that's what Trump is doing. And he said it many, many times that his goal is to use the tariffs as a tactic, a negotiating tactic, to get people to ramp up domestic production. Can we go ahead and throw on the video of Trump giving that speech for the steel tariffs? I think this is something everyone should see. And obviously the steel workers completely agree with it, because they understand that this is their industry. Let's go and throw that up there.
We are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%.
America is back, baby. America is back. It's nice to finally have a president that's not constantly trying to ship jobs overseas and is actually trying to fight for American workers. All right? It benefits America. Not to mention, there's a lot of towns throughout the country that collapsed over the years as our manufacturing went away. And these were big steel production towns, milling towns, mining towns, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that we need to, subvert the entire present industry of the United States to go back to this romanticized time where we were, completely self-sufficient. But there's a lot of things as critical national infrastructural goods and services that we need to have here domestically in order to be safe from outside forces trying to manipulate the United States or goad us into wars and stuff like that. At number 4 in our lineup today, we have Michelle Obama trashes motherhood. At a speech she gave this weekend, throughout the week, last week, it's about, I quote, "It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that the least of what it does is produce life." The least of what it does is produce life. Are you shitting me right now? So the greatest thing that women contribute to society, you're the nurturers of life. You create life. You are the thing that is required, the embodiment of the future of the human race. And we're going to belittle that because Michelle Obama wants to lean into, third and fourth wave radical feminism. I don't understand how anybody could take this position that that's the least of what the female reproductive system is for. That is the entire point of the reproductive system, is to create life. Even the male reproductive system is there to assist in creating life. You need both. That's the whole point. Sex doesn't mean anything if you're not creating life. It's just there for your own self-gratification. It's ultimately narcissistic. What are we doing with society at this point? This woman is batshit crazy. And mind you, the main person that the left is going to, trying to get everyone behind to run for office in the future. This is her position. That you should go be a wage slave to some random dude rather than be a mother, rather than creating life, rather than furthering the human race, rather than being the pillar of a household, rather than being the only one in your child's life to give them affirmation. It is incalculable, the effect that women have on society, and in many, many cases, especially as a man, because it is Mental Health Month as well. The only affirmation we will ever get in our lives, like pure, unconditional love and affirmation we'll get in our lives, is from our mothers in most cases. A lot of men won't ever get it from their kids or their wives. That's just the reality. I'm sorry to say. Everything else, everything in society comes at the condition that you provide something as a man. And she's advocating for women to be in that exact same position. No wonder, mental health issues among women are at an all-time high. All right, next up in the lineup, the days of using our tax dollars on state-sponsored propaganda are coming to a harsh end. Yes, the Trump administration is done funding NPR, and I could not be happier. Why do we have a state-sponsored propaganda? This leads me to a joke. So you got an American and you got a Russian meet each other in an airport, and the Russian asked the American, "What are you going to Russia for?" The American's going to Russia and the Russian's coming to America. And the Russian asked the American, "What are you going to Russia for?" "Oh, I'm going to study, state propaganda." And the Russian, and then the American asked the Russian, "What are you going to America for?" "Oh, I'm going to America to study state propaganda." And the American responds, "What state propaganda?" And the Russian retorts back, "Exactly. NPR is state propaganda." And here's the problem. They claim that they don't have a left-wing bias, while 99% of their coverage leans left. Their coverage of Trump was 97% negative. Their coverage of Republicans in general is 93% negative. Like, you're telling me you don't have a bias, but everything out of you is nonstop bias, while not even being honest enough to admit that you're radical Democrats. They're radically progressive. We shouldn't have state-sponsored propaganda at all. Give people the data, give them the facts, and let them make up their own mind. Next up, Stephen Miller. After the terrorist attack that happened this weekend in Boulder, Colorado, let's go ahead and cue up that video of the terrorist attack. But we have Stephen Miller says the terrorist attack was committed in Boulder by an illegal alien. He was granted a tourist visa by the Biden administration and then illegally overstayed that visa. In response, the Biden administration gave him a work permit. So let me get this straight. You came here legally under a work visa, okay, or under a tourist visa. Then you overstayed that visa, which now makes you an illegal immigrant because you're illegally staying in the U.S., and then the Biden administration rewards him with a work permit. You gotta be shitting me. I don't understand. That's like saying, hey, this guy broke into my house, went into my refrigerator, and grabbed a beer. So in response, I didn't call the cops. I just handed him an extra beer and invited him to stay for dinner. No, you broke the law. Get the fuck out. It's really that simple. The Biden administration has been utterly derelict in running this country, and we're going to be dealing with the consequences of this for the next probably 20 years. So let's watch that clip of the Boulder, Colorado, and then we can go ahead and cue up Tom Homan and what he said about Biden, about the Biden administration, and setting us up for 10 years of terrorism. Oh, there we got the Tom Homan clip right there. Let's go ahead and go with that, because that's exactly where we are right now.
The Biden administration were bringing people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years because of the chaos they created in 4 years. We're out there kicking butt. We're arresting a lot of criminal aliens. We're out there looking for the bad guy. And when we're out there doing that, Sean, we got protesters assaulting ICE officers. We got members of Congress all over the country going to ICE facilities, raising hell, saying this is their oversight responsibility. Where were their oversight responsibility when 10.5 million illegal aliens came across the border? Where is the oversight responsibility on releasing over 8 million illegal aliens to this country? Where was the oversight responsibility then? This is an attack on ICE. This is an attack on the Trump administration. We're trying to fix the damage done by Biden.
Utterly insane that anybody even still defends this shit from the Biden administration. It just baffles me at this point. Let's go ahead and cue up that video from the Boulder, Colorado. This terrorist incident that happened this weekend. This anti-Semite who decided to, go and attack a university, a Jewish protest in favor of, obviously Israel against the Palestinians and stuff in Gaza this weekend. It's thank God the vast majority on both sides of the aisle have completely condemned this action. But it's utterly insane at this point. Do we have that video? No, not this one. All right. Well, first, while we're finding that, we do have the record-breaking number of illegal aliens arrested by ICE in Massachusetts so far this past month, since ICE has been ramping up operations in Massachusetts. 1,461 arrests. Now, ICE in Massachusetts is using targeted warrants of individuals who are known to be operating at companies and in factories or whatever where there are other illegal immigrants. Now, these are criminal illegal aliens. They have illegal. They're not only here illegally, but they've committed crimes and are actively on the rolls for multiple offenses here within the United States, including, in many cases, sexual assault. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with right now. And, props to ICE for cracking down on this shit, because we need to get rid of it. In other news, you had Trantifa. And yes, that is a play on words. It has become the popular way to identify the crazies who have, I want to say, come out on the left. The evolution of taking the non-binary gender theory, the radical gender theory to its extreme. The Trantifa decided to attack somebody outside of a protest. I believe it was against Pride. Let's go ahead and show that video. And now she's crying because she got arrested. You know what? Fuck around and find out. That's exactly what you get.
Is your wife still over there? Yeah.
And this is the extreme left right here. This is what they're about. The nonviolent,
have a fun trip.
Yeah, the nonviolent, tolerant, accepting left decided to go and attack somebody sitting in a car. If you notice, he's filming from inside of a car, and this thing decided to walk by and come back and smash him in the face with a flagpole. This is what we're dealing with. These people don't want to get along, and this goes back to my previous. You've seen me say it 1,000 times. Okay, tolerance. I'm willing to accept that you have the same unalienable rights as I do to live, to exist, to live your lifestyle, to marry who you want, whatever, as long as you're consenting adults on your own property, in your own house. Just don't ask me to fund it. Don't force me to agree. You can't force me to agree with it, and don't talk to my kids about it. That's it. That's all I ask. That's all I get. All right? Where I have a problem with is when you're trying to enforce via government acceptance, or use violence in this case to enforce acceptance. I don't have to accept you. When are you're saying, why won't you accept me? And I'm saying, why won't you accept that I don't have to accept you? I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to advocate for you. I just don't give a shit. Live your life. Stop forcing me to have to agree with it. It's that simple. All right, so we got some sad news. All right, this is the sad news is DJ, the young boy that Trump had at the inauguration speech, who wanted to be a Secret Service agent. He got to be an honorary Secret Service agent, got to be an honorary ICE agent, and an honorary Border Patrol agent. His cancer diagnosis has gotten worse. Okay, his cancer diagnosis has gotten worse. It turns out he's been sworn in as an honorary officer in 1,351 law enforcement agencies across the country so that this young boy could complete his dream. And unfortunately, his dad has notified us that he has 3 new tumors. I swear. And this is the same boy that the left during the inauguration speech couldn't even stand up and applaud for. This is the same guy that the same kid that the left couldn't stand up and just clap their hands for, battling cancer. Kid's about 12 years old, 13 years old. This is just, this is sad. I swear, I wish this kid could catch a break. God, please lay your hands on this kid and please help him. He needs it. He shouldn't be having to deal with this. We've gotten to such, and it's a shame that we've gotten to this point in society where we can't even, sit and clap or honor that this isn't, that the prayers for this kid aren't universal across the aisle, and I'm not even I disagree with using this kid as a political prop the way so many have been doing. But I do agree with the kid is suffering in a way that the vast majority of people can't understand. Imagine being 12 years old and knowing that you may never reach 16. You may never get to the point where you can drive. You may never get to the point where you have your first girlfriend, or you get to go to your junior your junior semi, or it's sorry. All right, in other news, we're going to go on to something that I find absolutely disgusting and fascinating at the same time. You got World Star has Bonnie Blue, this OnlyFans creator that slept with 1,000 men not long ago and went viral for her feud with another OnlyFans star over who could be the biggest skank. She decided to double down on sleeping with 1,000 men by going into an old folks home and sleeping with a bunch of elderly men, and now posting videos online saying she's planning to sleep. She did 1,000 men in 24 hours, and now she plans to sleep with 2,000 men on June 15th. That is utterly disgusting. At what, where are we in society where somebody announces this out in public as if it's something to be proud of? As if it's something to be proud of. I got nothing. How is this where we are? I can't imagine. And when the interview came up, I didn't bring in the clip of the interview because it honestly, it gets worse the more she speaks. But she said it was empowering. In the interview, where she was interviewed about this new thing, and this trend, unfortunately, that it was empowering to women to be able to do what she's doing. I got nothing. And this is on the back of a story, an article that I wrote, that 1 in 10 women between 18 and 24 have an OnlyFans account, an OnlyFans creator account. How is this not is this where we're at? Now, my son is a teenager, and he goes to school, and he said, Dad, you wouldn't even believe the amount of girls who want to grow up and have an OnlyFans, or the amount of girls who want to grow up and be an Instagram model or something like that, where they're basically prostituting themselves online. And I'm, by all means, do what you're going to do, but the level of pride in doing it. This used to be something that people looked at as something that you felt that you had to do when you had no other options, but it seems to be something that is being pushed as being normal in society, like it's something that we should applaud. And I just don't agree that this is a positive thing. And what baffles me even more is that there are so many young girls, and that's the nefarious part to me. Not that she wants to be, she wants to sleep with 1,000 men or sleep with 2,000 men. What is disturbing to me is how this is being marketed to young girls as a position of empowerment for women. It's not empowering for women. As a matter of fact, I was having this conversation this week, and I'd say it's radical feminism. And what I'm saying is I've already laid it out. Yeah, first wave feminism is equal rights. Second wave feminism is normalization. Third wave feminism is militancy, and fourth wave feminism is regression. The militancy and regression part of feminism, the devolving of the feminist movement, it has been utterly destructive towards women as a whole. The only beneficiaries from it are weak men. Weak men. Weak and destructive men are the primary beneficiaries of third and fourth wave feminism. And unfortunately, a lot of the women who buy into it aren't going to wake up to it until it's way too late. I did mention we have a video that I brought because I want people to see. It is Men's Mental Health Month. And that's our 11th slot today. Is, you could be the guy who scrolls on your phone. Or you could be the guy who wakes up in the morning, drink your coffee, get your workout in, and grind. Let's go ahead and show that clip.
Absolutely fucking not.
That's it. Wake up and fucking grind. You have two options as a man. I tell my son this all the time, right? So we're in Strong Dad June, and I'm going to have the founder of Strong Dad June on next week, and we're going to delve into June as Mental Health Month. We just had a guest on today to talk about it being Veterans Month. We're going to have another guest on, multiple guests on. It is also Strong Dad June, in which we promote fatherhood and the positive things that come with being a father and the duties of being a father. Because mothers give us, unfettered affirmation and unconditional love. Whereas a father's job is to turn you around and face you towards the world and ready you for what's in front of you, regardless of whether it benefits him. You may hate your dad and you may not appreciate him until the day he walks you down the aisle or the day he's laying on his deathbed. but his duty is to turn you around and face you towards the world and ready you for the world that you're about to walk out into. Because the reality is it's an unforgiving place. And it's like Chris Rock said, outside this house, nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody cares. Your teachers don't care about you. Your boss doesn't care about you. Most of your friends are momentary and convenient, are there for the moment, and they're there based on their own convenience. The reality is you are lucky if you find a few friends in your life that truly last the test of time. You'd be lucky if you find a wife that isn't there for her own convenience and doesn't leave you when it no longer suits her, when things get hard. And he said, you know, Chris Rock said, even in this house, was still a little on the fence. That was the comedy in the skit. But I find that to be, it resonates. It's gone viral multiple times because it resonates. And unfortunately, that's where we are right now. You know, you have two choices as a man. You could be a weak man, and you could wait for society to affirm you, which it never will. And can wait for people to appreciate you, which the likelihood is it'll never happen. Or you can wake the fuck up and grind, and you can fight, and you can carve out your space in the world. And my family's motto is, if I were to die today knowing that I have benefited another person's life for the better, I have lived a good life. Well, I'm telling you right now, I am going to die knowing that I benefited another person's life for the better, and I don't need affirmation for it. But for the men that are out there, if you need anything, reach out to me. I'll talk with you. It doesn't matter what time of night it is. Doesn't matter how bad you're feeling. I'm there for you. It is Men's Mental Health Month. Take care of your mental health. If you need help, get help. Have that phone call. Call the suicide hotline. I don't want to see any bodies dropping during this month. And I want to see an end to the suicide rate, especially the veteran suicide rate. All right. So we'd already had Mike and the guys on today, and you know, we had quite a few, you know, guests on. It's unfortunate where we are right now. I can't get that final video to pop up for some reason. But oh well. Oh no, that's what it is. All right. Well, we're nearing. We're pretty much at the end of the show today, and I want to remind everyone: get out there, get active in your community, support veterans. Please go look up RAM Foundation and figure out veterans charities, charities for vets. I want you to go out there. I want you to support them. I want you to look at the charities before you donate. And I want you to be very, very purposeful. I want you to reach out to Citizens Doge and figure out how you and your state can build your own Citizens Doge and start holding your local government accountable and build up the infrastructure at a grassroots level to be able to get the candidates that we, the people, really want in office. And I'm talking candidates that are going to not just say the things we want them to say, but do the things we want them to do. That are going to go to D.C., they're not just going to talk a good game, and they're going to deliver transparency, accountability, efficiency, and efficacy. They're going to stick to the conservation of the Constitution, the Republic, and the inalienable rights of individuals to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's what we're voting for. That's the call to action. Get up, get active locally. You cannot sit down, kick your feet up, drink a beer, and expect the republic to maintain itself. Like Reagan said, we didn't pass it to our children in the womb. You have to actively pass it down to your kids every single day. And as Benjamin Franklin said, it's a republic if you can keep it. That means proactive engagement. All right? Thank you for tuning in to Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. God bless everyone. Tune in next week. This is brought to you by Right America Media. Tune in to Right America Media on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X, and YouTube and Rumble. Tune into Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast on all of the same. We'll be back to you again next week. Tune in for Granite State Live at 7 p.m. and Shadow Band at 9:30 tonight. God bless everyone. Have a good day. United We Stand, A Marine's Fight. Written by Julian Acciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Acciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.
And what kind of player am I? Am I an offensive man or a defensive man? That's right, I'm neither. I play my opponent. If he likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. If he's a cautious man,
United We Stand, A Marine's Fight. Written by Julian Acciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Julian Acciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.